for another amazing episode of the Sisters Chat. We are joined today by another quote unquote sister who I love so dearly. We are going to get into that. And before we catch up, we have a very special sponsor for this week's episode. We love when our sponsors are female and somebody that is also spreading her light into the world. This episode is sponsored by an amazing singer-songwriter that I think most of the world has already seen. You might have not known who she was. You might have seen her on stage, and then you might have said, like, wait, she's like Cinderella. She just ran off. Who is she? She dazzled the stage with her talent at the Yotes Kislev Mega 3001 for bringing her name.
Oh, that was the best part. The best part of the whole night was the singing.
Do not cut into my sponsorship, Adla. This is my specialty, and you do the editing and I do the sponsorship, so I have to make sure I do a really good job, okay? Her name is Chaviva Tarlow. Sings like an angel, able to carry a crowd with her grace and presence. And even though it was such a huge crowd, I'm sure what each of you felt is like she brought the entire crowd together, dazzled us with her amazing stage presence, but at the same time was not overwhelming, and that is her specialty. She is available to sing for so many different crowds at Chalabek, Spa for the Soul, Bas Mitzvah, high school, Neshei Chabad events, organizations. I dare to say she is going to, in the next few years, be singing at the Kinnas HaShlochas because she just has that amazing star quality. And because she, Baruch Hashem, is growing a family, but now jumping right back into her singing, she is offering something crazy for the next 3 weeks. Anyone that books her to sing at her event, she also actually sings with a guitar, which is not like so usual for all singers. She is doing a special for anyone sort of local, $1,300. She usually charges $3,000, but this is like just a crazy. She's like, I know you're a group of crazy sisters, so let's throw in something wild and crazy. So this is really time limited for the next 3 weeks. If you book in the next, like put down an event in the next 6 months, you might be privy to get this crazy, amazing deal. And she really, like, you kind of feel like she takes you on this journey. And I don't know if it's her song choice or just the way she sings, but you kind of feel like it's not just a song, it's a whole experience. And when she sang for Beis Rivka in the past, Sarla Blau, now we take Sarla Blau's words seriously. She said, Chaviva, you are the perfect balance of refinement and electricity. You're like, come on.
Blau says it, it's true.
Exactly. She doesn't just throw out words like us. So this is Chaviva Tarlow. You could check out her music, check her out on Instagram. Her music's on Spotify, everywhere. And now you could tell me your feedback that you felt at the Yotes Kislev event.
So the other sisters don't know this, that we were actually invited. They wanted to have like a backup choir for Chaviva, people singing in the background. So they actually asked Mushki if me, her, and Mommy would go up behind and pretend to be singing with the crowd, like just to do that.
Do I have a hard time believing this, or like even understanding how?
Is that true?
Did they ever hear you sing?
It's a true story. And we said, but everyone would know it's fake. Like, you want it to be like authentic, like the girls are singing along. You don't want us, like, we're going to actually sing loud and ruin Chaviva singing. So Mushki said to me, Adla, we don't have to say yes to everything, because I said, if they ask us, it's our achrayus to get in there and help with the community event. Like, of course we'll do it. And she's like, no. Sometimes we say no, and that's when
I want people to know I have some boundaries. I said we do not say yes to everything. We don't have to have our faces plastered everywhere, especially when everyone's going to know it's lip synced.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm shocked that they asked, but I'm actually impressed you guys said no. This is news to me. So I didn't even know if it was possible, Mushki, for you to say no like that.
I know there's so many surprises. And we're going to hear more about on this chat. Ooh, I actually want to tell you that Chaviva I'm going to take some credit because she was my camper in Pardes Chana. And she,
No, Mushki. I was gonna say I think she's my classmate.
I was so excited for you to say that because I was going to out you on your amazing memory, Nini.
I'm telling
Was
you, I
this-
had a Haviva
You're like, I
Tarlo.
think she was my classmate. I was like, yeah,
There
you
was
don't
a
say that.
Haviva Tarlo in seminary with me in
Yeah,
Yerushalayim.
but Nini, she was Haviva El Harar, and now
Okay,
she's Haviva Tarlo.
I'm sorry.
So,
I,
no, but that's not bad, Nini. Nini, that's actually pretty impressive. I remember as she was my camper, she was so like delicate and sweet, and she really found her voice through singing. So it's like so beautiful that this is how she shares, she shares her talent and light with the world. And she's also very into healing. And I was like, oh my gosh, we are having the most incredible healer on this podcast. So it's like amazingly crazy how everything just like fits in without us even trying. So,
And Mushki, I want to say that coming off this week, many of us went to the Kinnes HaShlochos. And, one thing it taught us was that part of our audience, a very large part of our listening audience, are shlochais, who we are so happy to have you here, and we love that you join us. And you can always use something for a women's event. I mean, when you're making those calendars, there's always something new to do, something interesting to bring. And singing is something that just uplifts all ages. It just unites people, right? Music is the universal uniter. So I think that for all the shlochis listening, this sounds like a great event that you don't have to. I'm not going to say
it's
you can,
something you could literally check off. I don't have to think about. I know there's music. Everyone knows music. I think even the Kinnos this year decided that's it. Matzah Shabbos, they're just doing music.
it
Because
was.
music is the way to go.
But Mushki, you didn't say does she travel? Like
Yeah, she does travel. So the special craze, like she's doing this crazy discount. So that's more locally. If she is willing to travel, but that might not be for this crazy price. You'll contact her. She's still going to have an amazing price for you, but you really have to contact her and get those details. But this is more local. She's located in Kingston, Pennsylvania. So obviously the tri-state area, that's where she's talking about. She is willing to travel out, but that won't be like for this type of crazy price. But if you book within the next 3 weeks, something within the next 6 months, you still are getting a crazy, like once in a lifetime deal.
Okay. So the shlochis event's taken care of. Our next bas mitzvahs are done. Chaviva, check, check, check. Mushki, tell us about our amazing guest. Who do we have on the podcast this week?
I don't even know like where to start because actually first I was like, wait, is it going to be a little overwhelming for her, like being on with all the sisters? And I'm like, nah, she'll be fine.
She
could
also
just,
knows all of us.
she knows all of us, but she could just like emotion code it all out of her afterwards if it was too much for her. Like, oh, this is a little overwhelming. So this is I'm just going to start with my dearest friend, Macy Crenshaw. Right, Macy, is that just your legal name?
Yeah,
Or
it's fine.
yeah, I think, and I think everyone calls you Macy's, like my whole family.
One-stop shop.
Mommy loves Macy's and Macy. Like it's
Yeah.
just
It's her two loves. And Macy she started off, I'm going to say, just give the little snippet because it's so organic. And I feel like Hashem kind of just like blessed me by like kind of just sending you. You were like Hashem sends his little angels along the way. Kind of going off of last week's episode, we spoke about with Musya postpartum. I was having a very hard time after my baby Menucha was born, and she had a very hard time settling down. And I got Macy when she was 1 year old. Macy came to my house, and she was her OT, and explained to me that there was a lot of reflexes that didn't integrate. Even though she was one, kind of some of her newborn reflexes didn't integrate. I didn't understand anything Macy was saying, but I just knew she had this like knack, and she was able to do so many things, and she took it so seriously. So Macy was coming to my house to do OT for Menucha twice a week. And then I decided that Manucha needs a little more help. So I called Rachi Ormland to do an emotion code session. First, anytime I called Rachi, I said, okay, I need an emotion code session on my daughter. Rachi says, when the mother heals, the children heal through her. So first she was doing sessions on me, and she says the whole family will heal when alongside the mother. And then I was like, Rachi, forget it. Do one straight on my baby. And then Macy was coming twice a week. Rachi did the session, and Macy came the day after, and she said, Mushki, she's so into HIPAA, Macy. Everything's HIPAA. I just want gossip from everyone. And she always says, sorry, Mushki, it's HIPAA. It's very annoying. But she said, Mushki, I don't mean to pry and overstep my boundaries, but what did you do with Manucha from yesterday to today? Like from 2 days ago to today, I said, and I didn't want to give it away. So I was very put on my actress face. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Macy. And she goes, Mushki, I feel like I'm dealing with a different child. She says she's able to integrate this skill. She's able to integrate that. She's able to turn over without crying. She goes, and overall, I feel like her energy is completely different. I'm working with a different child. And when she said that, I literally almost started crying. And I said, Macy, I think I know your next path of your journey of life. If you are so in tune to this energy thing, I think you are meant to be an emotion coder. And she said, a what? A what? And Macy, do you want to take away the rest of the story? Take it away.
Sure. Yeah. As Muskie was sharing, I'm very, I have a do not share policy. I'm very HIPAA compliant, and I don't share a lot of personal. I'm not a big personal share.
We're going to change that over this past
right. And so I also remember taking it back a few weeks. About 4 weeks prior, Mushki had a friend over, and she was observing the session with Manucha, and she was making so many great strides, and they were so kindly complimenting me and all the amazing progress they'd seen. And I remember your friend said, do you feel like this is your calling? And normally I would just accept the compliment and say, thank you, that's so kind. But for some reason that day, I allowed myself to be more vulnerable. And even as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, what did I just say? And I said, no, actually, I feel like something's coming. The last month, I've been driving, and I just feel like, oh, I can't wait till I learn this. This thing arrives. And then a month passes, and we have this amazing session with this beautiful blue-eyed baby who's very sensitive. And on this day, she was just so carefree. She was humming and just allowing me to facilitate her any way I wanted. And I was just so, I was in such awe, right? And so I think it taught me also to like you were saying, Mushki, to be safe, to be vulnerable, to share, where normally I keep my HIPAA and I keep my boundaries and wouldn't share personal. But it allowed something to come in, and it was such a gift. So I also called Rachi, and right away did the biggest, deepest dive, did my own session, asked her a million questions, read the books, and then the rest is kind of history. I'm now certified in all three. There's 3 levels right now: the emotion code, body code, and belief code. So the last 3+ years has been such an amazing adventure.
I just want to say, Macy, that's who you are. That's why she was the most unbelievable OT, because she didn't just do OT. She learned all about the parasympathetic, sympathetic. So I knew the emotion code would just be the start. And I knew if I just pushed you, because you're wait, what is that? Because Macy, you were also very clinical. You were an OT. And I knew if I just pushed you, you would just take it all the way. And for the Crown Heightsers watching, I remember you called me, Macy. I just want to tell them what kind of person you are. You called me right when I moved to Crown Heights, and you said, Mushki, I started, I don't know how long ago it was. You said, Mushki, I just started a few months ago, and you told me I already have 70 clients. Right? And you said, I want to give you a gift. And Macy gave me a gift and gave me some session just as a thank you. But I think that's, people just wanted to share about you with their friends, because I had we're going to get into it, but like one friend told me, oh my gosh, Mushki, like my son was biting and that behavior stopped, or my son couldn't pass the test. I know you were saying somebody had tremors, and that people just really were able to see such beautiful results with their children. But me and Macy could just go on forever and ever, because for 2 years she was in my house twice a week. So if someone doesn't like cut in and take over, that's
I'll cut in. I'll cut in. I saw the process also like a little organically, because I moved in and kind of hung out by Mushki's house because I was a little bit alone in California, and I'm obsessed with Macy. Me and Dari always talk about, like, if something goes wrong, like if baby doesn't sleep at night, we're going through a sleep regression, we're like, do we call Macy? And I definitely feel like I called you when I had like a really funny, it was not funny story, but when I went to the doctor, and they like couldn't see if like the baby was there, because I had to at PCOS, so I have to go to the doctor for like fertility, and they're like, I don't see if like the baby's, they're like, we can't see if the baby's there. So I called Macy crying. I'm like, Macy, I don't know if you can help me, but do you sense life? And she's like, Hesha, I sense a life in there. And I also always call Macy after I have a baby, because I'm like, I want my babies to start fresh. But Dari has gotten to this point where if I want to do it, he's like, you're going to do whatever you're going to do either way. But I'm just curious, how do you explain to people what emotion code is? Because I'm just like, it's energy. It's like, I don't understand it. I feel like it's so good. So that's why I'm like, I love it. But what is emotion code?
I think we have to also make a disclaimer, Macy. Like, I think people were like really getting the hang of the sisters chat. I'm like, wow, they're really a really normal podcast. And now they're like, okay, like now's the time if you want to jump ship. Like, no, we're actually not so normal. We're a little more heebie-jeebie than you thought.
I was thinking more than that, Mushki. How do we keep having people on that we're all obsessed with and that knows all of us? Like, turns out we're a very large social family. Like, I think it's because if one person finds somebody, then that's it. Mushki's like, Macy's our gal, and that's, you know, done. Once your number shared on the family WhatsApp, you're in trouble.
Full-time job. So
I have to say, my family probably also feels like I jumped ship or like caught the voodoo train. My mom's a registered nurse, and my dad's the fire chief. So they were like, wait, what? And then coming from an occupational therapy brain, it was all new to me too. So this isn't something I grew up with. But I guess when you see it firsthand in the babies that you care for and love, then there's just no going back. Once you realize like what other ways you can help children or anyone, I just kind of put my ego aside or any fear I have or about, I'm like, it might not be for everyone, but if I think it's going to help, then I just have to say like, I think this is going to help. But to get back to your question, the motion code is an energy healing technique. It was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson. It's a method that allows people to identify and then release any trapped emotion or trapped energy in the body from any time in a person's life. So Dr. Nelson is a chiropractor. That was his training, and he was trying to get to the root of it, the root of why, like he would have a client or patient come in and why is it always that this rib was out or this vertebrae is always out? Why are they always having neck pain? Yeah, I can adjust it, but then it goes back out. And so he was working with other professionals, finding that there's an energy imbalance there. And if you go to the root of the problem and release the energy, then the body can just naturally heal itself.
When you say like a trapped emotion, is it like just an experience? Is it like something personal? Like, do we all go through it? What is like a trapped emotion?
Yeah. They describe trapped emotions as just any imbalance that the body has trapped from any time in a person's life. So I usually give the scenario that there's a stimulus that occurs. There's typically 3 ways you can trap an emotion. You think oftentimes of like directly experience something, meaning you were, God forbid, in a car accident, right? You directly experienced that car accident. So that's one way that that can occur, that you can trap something. The other way is you could hear about something. So someone could call you and say, oh my goodness, there's been an awful car accident. And then the third way you could hear is you could see something. So there's 3, like, see something that occurred that was emotionally triggering. So when anytime a stimulus occurs, a thought is created, the subconscious mind then searches for information. It's like the storage of the brain, right? So we think of the subconscious mind as if the mind or the brain was like an iceberg floating in the water, and the conscious part of the brain is about just the very tip of it. So if you're coming along in your boat, you're only going to see that part of the iceberg that's sticking up. All the subconscious is what's underneath the water, and that's where we retrieve our thoughts, our emotions, our ideas, and it stores anything that's ever happened to us. So the subconscious mind searches for information and it communicates with the body. So it sends out all those signals to the organs and glands. And we know that those organs and glands are the ones that are responsible for generating emotions. So the liver creates different emotions than the lungs or the kidneys. And then those all have different hormones and different signals. They're sending those out to the body in vibrations. So there's all things going on, right? And then those are influencing your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. They're really influencing everything. And if you're in a stressful event, sometimes you just have to like, okay, I can't deal with all the emotional right now. I'm going to have to just put it on the back burner. But at some point, if you don't process those emotions, if you don't, talk to someone, help your body process what you just went through, that emotion has the ability to become trapped. It can trap anywhere in the body. It doesn't necessarily trap where it's created. So just because an emotion is generated in the lung doesn't mean it's going to stay there. It can move and get trapped anywhere. So that's essentially the process of how the emotional experience occurs, how an emotion gets trapped.
I love that. It's like repression, but still the body remembers.
What does like a typical session look like, Macy? Like how would one even go like start an emotion code session? Do you need to be in person? Like what's the vibe?
No,
Macy, sorry. You learned to do distance sessions because my
Mushki made
Manuka
me.
was having a hard time in your house meeting.
Yeah.
And I called Macy and said, you have to help me. And she said, I can't. I said, I can't. She said, I can't. You're far away. And I said, well, everyone else does it. So you're going to figure it out.
And I said, your baby's 2. She's just screaming because she got off an airplane and she's just exhausted. But no, she's like, no, she needs a session now.
No, I actually didn't tell you. I didn't tell you when I did a session with Macy. And Ayla said, look, I told you Manuka's going to calm down. And I'm like, I didn't tell you. I did a session.
But somehow in every single episode, I get blamed for something. Now it's sounding like Ma.
Okay, good. We got it. We got it out of the way, like right off
it.
the top. You're good now.
Right?
That's it. You have your one thing.
So we're good.
No more.
Manuka is crying in my house, but Macy, you saved the day. So yeah, like do you find in person versus like virtual, is it a better connection when you're closer to the person, or it really doesn't work like that?
Even more, can I add on to Nini's question, is
Yeah.
like you're saying an emotion gets trapped. Like, I guess, Nini, how do those sessions get those emotions out for you?
Yeah. So at first, when I started this work, I was just doing in person, like Mushki was saying. And then they do teach you that you can really do this anywhere, that the person can be anywhere, that you're just accessing the subconscious part of the brain. And you just do that through the power of intention. So I have to have the person's blessing. I don't just walk around and, connect with people. I don't feel that there's a difference between whether a person's right next to me or in New York or South Africa or France, or I don't see a difference. People have the same outcomes.
So someone who might be listening and hearing you saying you're connecting to people like in South Africa or New York, and it's a new subject maybe,
All the normal people.
or maybe even like me sitting here with my sisters, that you probably heard from me the least from everybody else. But truth is, we didn't grow up with so much of this in our house, but my in-laws were always more holistic and different things. So when I was getting married, my husband was going, to a magnet person and always homeopaths and all these different things. So is this something that like you actually have to believe in order for you to help? Or like if someone like suggests, oh, your baby's crying, just do emotion code. But let's say I don't really connect with it so much. Like, can you still help me? Or like you really need to like be a believer in the cause for you to be able to connect and really help that person?
Yeah, I think the power of intention is the root of most things, right? So it goes back to the saying of I could do whatever I believed I could do as long as I was grateful to God that I was doing it. So if there is no belief it's going to work, or you don't think it's, then it kind of is like, what are we doing here? But for some people who are just like, I'm not too sure about it, I say just start with the open mind to receive whatever you want to receive from, from this.
Sure.
And then usually if they're on the call, they're at least open-minded. But intention is the first key that Dr. Brad talks about.
But Macy, I've sent you people, maybe they were acting, but like I've sent some people to you or Rahi, and they were like very skeptical, like really, but it was kind of like their last resort. They went to regular doctors and then they were really shocked because they just saw the results. Like, I guess maybe they just had that open mind. They weren't against it, but they definitely were not like believing in it.
Right. And sometimes I'll get calls from parents and it'll be like, we've tried XYZ, and then they'll do a session with their child and the parents will be on the phone, both parents. And then afterwards they'll see the transformation. Right. And so because children are, I feel like, just open to receive, right? They're not, they don't have all these preconceived notions of what can happen and what can't happen. Then oftentimes it's just like a gateway, then the whole family, then the dad's calling, and then this other family member's calling. The most skeptic of the skeptics turn when you see that your child is completely different than they were the day before. So, yeah. So I think everyone's on their own journey, and I never would try to sway someone who wasn't comfortable trying it. And the amazing thing is we live in a time in which there's so many amazing modalities out there for healing, right? We have acupuncture and breath work. We have, you could do Tai Chi, you could do yoga. Like there's just so many ways that you can bring healing and health to your body, that this isn't the only one. So if it doesn't speak to you, then that's okay. Can bring you, and even if it's not the thing, it can just be along the path, right? Along your path to your next step of healing. So maybe I'm not the one, but like maybe we'll talk about something and it'll take you to someone else. And
Macy, can I ask you something? Just because, I think what Nini is saying is like more of a skeptic. Sometimes things, and because I know Mushki will call you and, a situation in the family, or I called you about my baby, and it doesn't make sense that you would know it, right? I think that's where the part is so confusing. You're living out in LA, and then you're telling me, oh, your baby had a in utero trauma at 18 weeks. And I'm like, but how do you know? Right? It's like, where's the information coming from?
So that's
and if it was like your husband, like Devin would first say, they say that to everyone. Everyone had a bad relationship with someone. Everyone had, like,
right,
just do these things. And he's like, are you sure you didn't tell her that before?
Right.
So like, I'll purposely not say to you, I'm like, I'm not saying anything just because you have to figure it out on your own, because it just, when you're trying to think logically, it's like, it doesn't make sense, but I guess you're just feeling it. Or I think one time my mother she called for all of us, but you had to ask permission to access everybody's like internal emotions. So that's like Nini's saying, like, I know you can do amazing things and I believe in it. But then when I go to the other side, I roll over, I'm like, okay, but it's just weird.
Right. Uh, I agree. There is some part of it that's still like, how is this happening? But
Right.
essentially,
Magical.
it's just connecting. Like, if the subconscious is like a computer, right? So I'm just connecting to the subconscious part of your mind. So I'm not in your conscious thoughts. I'm not able to read your thoughts or your ideas. I'm only connecting to your subconscious, which is literally like me getting on your computer and being like, how did you know I did this? I'm like, well, it's in your calendar. I'm on your computer, and that's essentially what it's like. I'm able, and even after you've released something. So if we've released a trapped emotion from one point in your life, the computer will still hold that memory, right? We're not releasing the memory of it. So we can still go back and ask any questions we want about it. But at least that emotional charge has been released.
But when we're talking about trapped emotions, is it always a negative emotion that you're untrapping?
Good question. No, there is. The one that pops out to me is overjoy. And it's like, it's almost like too intense for your nervous system, just like if you were to have like panic or shock, that feeling of like overjoy.
Macy, why do you feel like people come to you? Like, what's the most common reasons people come to you? Is it like anxiety, parenting, physical pain? Like, why do you feel like people come to you the most for?
I think, luckily I feel so grateful that I'm blessed with clients who call me who are wanting to make a change, right? They're like being brave. They're being vulnerable. They're looking at themselves in the mirror and being like, this is hard for me and it doesn't have to be hard, right? What can I do? And then being open, but they're also aware, like a really high sense of self-awareness. Even for me, I'm just like, wow, I don't know. A lot of the times they're sharing things. I'm like, Matt, it's inspiring for me to be like, okay, I also can be this aware. And they're realizing like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to show up as? Who do I want people to remember me for being? How do I make them feel when I'm around them? And they're asking these bigger questions. So when I get phone calls from people, I'll get a phone call from a lawyer who's, such a prestigious job. He's saying, what could I do to make me feel more confident or more at ease when I have these really high profile cases? And I'm just so inspired. The fact that people are taking time to like just improve or, them and better themselves. So I think that's a big part of it. Also, I think it's just like realizing that we're all part of a community. Like, who can help? What can I help with? When you have like a large family, it's like, I don't have to have it all. So like, who could help me with this challenge that my child's going through? And what could make this situation easier? I don't have to just be like, oh, this is just a stage, or this is just the way it is. Like, no, that doesn't have to be the case. But the list of reasons why people have called, it's long. I would say typically the two big things for why the way the body is impacted is physically when there's an imbalance. So when something is trapped, it's going to either be physical, that you'll start to notice it, or mental. And so with physical, I get people calling me regarding pain or discomfort. I'm not able to go up the stairs, my knee, my hip, any pain that you could experience anywhere in the body. That's one. And then as far as like the mental, I would say that would be like feeling overstressed or overburdened. All the mental load is too much. So that might be like anxiousness or fear, anxiety, like those kinds of challenges. I get a lot of parents reach out, and usually I think as a parent, we're more likely to seek help for our child first before we look like, oh, what could I use help? Anything with kids, whether it be challenges with focusing at school, challenges with any kind of fear or anxiety with kiddos. Sometimes it's toileting, right? They're just like afraid to go to the bathroom when they're doing the toilet.
I'm calling you tomorrow for Rosie.
Right? The toilet training process can be so scary. So a lot of those fears and worries, also all this, I'll have parents call and say, all of a sudden this strange behavior started occurring. They started biting. They've never bitten. They started, you name it, XYZ, right? They started saying, I hate you, mommy. Like, what's going on? Like, nothing happened. Like, can we get to the bottom of this? But yeah, any difficulty with relationships between parent and child. I've had the people call and say, I don't know, I feel like I'm not living, I'm just floating. There's so much going on and I'm just kind of like going through I want to be more engaged. And then tummy troubles, hard time socially, maybe a trapped image from the past that you just can't really seem to release, that something's still just holding you back. People saying that they're just kind of slipping back into the grief process. Those are just a few of the ones that come to mind. Yeah.
It's like such a spectrum. It's so interesting to hear like where people are calling and why they're calling. I'm just like really curious also, are we able to get rid of the trapped emotions ourselves? And do we get better at it once we get help? Like, can we do emotion code on ourselves, or
yes,
do we need help to get rid of these trapped
emotions? You can read the book, The Emotion Code from by Dr. Nelson, and you can understand the method from just reading it and start working to release your own trapped emotions. And I think that's one of the many things that I love about Dr. Nelson is he's not trying to gatekeep, right? But hopefully you go through the process and you of processing your emotion, right? And hopefully it won't trap. So it doesn't always have to trap. And the emotion code is not the only way to release a trapped emotion. I think it is the strongest way to release an emotion targeted, meaning we can ask the subconscious a really targeted question. What's impacting your focus? What's making you feel like you're going to lose, be explosive 0 to 10 all of a sudden? So we can ask the really targeted questions, but there are other ways that you can release emotions. You can go for a run and talk to a friend, go get a massage. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a massage and all of a sudden you start start crying. So the trapped emotions can just, there's a lot of ways to release them. Breath work's a beautiful way. I just think that emotion code modality is great, that it can really get to it quicker and more efficient.
I just want to show people might think also it's like super like voodoo-y, but it's actually a pretty, I have an app that I pay for every month that I don't use. I don't know if anyone you can't really see it from here, but it's like an app with a chart. Do you want to explain it, little Macy, how it's not like, I feel, even though when people like don't believe about connecting, I like to say like Macy's a Jew by heart. And whenever I post a picture of you, everyone's like, she has such a gorgeous shaitel. But I say like Yiddishkeit, the whole, if you believe like in Yiddishkeit, it's a lot about energy exchange. You don't have to be touching someone to daven for them and, connect to them. There's so much. You light candles, physical candles, you bring light, into the world. So there's definitely like we actually have more of that energetic thing in our life, but the way emotion code works, it's more of a technical, like a chart, right? Like you muscle test. Do you want it? Like,
sure. Yeah. I'm not, when I do a session with someone, I'm not just like polling, oh, I feel this or I feel that. No, I'm going to they have a chart.
Listen up.
No. I started the body code, and it can show me anywhere in the body where something is located if we need to know. Like if the body needs to know, okay, this is on the lungs, and then it'll show me this is the trapped emotion. So it's the subconscious is just showing me now go here, now go there, now go here. And it's just leading me through an app, which if the app's just sitting there, it's not interactive, right? You have to click and tap and find your way through it to see what's trapped. But it's not me just saying, oh, this or that. It's me locating the information in the app. They have, I don't know if it's 60 or 80. I don't remember how many trapped emotions are in the chart. I should know. But essentially, it's whatever vibration the subconscious is saying is there. A form of applied kinesiology called manual muscle testing. I think it was developed in the 1940s. My mom remembers taking a class as a registered nurse to learn manual muscle testing. So it is, it's in the medical field, manual muscle testing, but other modalities use it. Chiropractors use it. Some acupuncturists use it. Integrative medicine uses it a lot to see like what herbs would be good for you. And so manual muscle testing is just a way for you to access the subconscious part of the brain and ask any question. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about it is that I don't have to have you go through. You could say I had a really traumatic event in my 20s and I won't know what it is. You don't have to share. Your subconscious knows, it remembers. You don't have to go through it, right? And so I think compared to like going to a therapy session where you're like, okay, let's talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. Your subconscious knows exactly what you're talking about. So we can just start releasing anything that's there to make you not have to just hold this all the time, right? To free your body from this this baggage that you've been holding.
How many sessions, Macy, does it take to actually like release like an emotion, or different emotions take a few? And also like after a person has a session, like when do they start feeling the healing? Like do they have to follow up, or do they just automatically feel better? Just for those who are listening, not for me, just for everybody else.
Nini's perfect.
No, I did a session with Macy. Mom sent me there.
And by the way, you can inherit emotions. That's what I learned from a session with Rocky. It could be nothing that you could have had we had the perfect childhood. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Ma. But you could just inherit things from, generational trauma. No?
So interesting.
Yeah. So for how many things can you release in a session? If I did like a standard 50-minute is what I do for a session. It is typical to release, I would say, like, it depends on how quickly we're moving. Some people really do want to share and talk, and that's fine too. So you can tell me about each experience, and I would love to hear, or some people just are more rapid, like, okay, that makes sense. But I would say around 30, at least 30, sometimes 50 things that will release in a session. And usually we can get to a multiple things. So I'm like, if it's only this, okay, is there other things you want to work on? Usually, if you come with a laundry list, which I always recommend, because the subconscious often likes to release things in a certain order.
When do you start feeling better post-session?
It's really individual. So I would say some people, it's right away. They'll even be saying during the session, like, whew, wow, okay, I'm noticing. And they'll just start to say things that they're noticing. Parents usually are the greatest, the greatest at noticing when the changes start to occur. And with little ones, it can happen, like they'll get off the bus and they're glowing and they're so different. The whole dynamic was changed in our household. So it can be really quickly. Typically people have an integration period. Some people don't, but after the session, everything's released, but it takes the body a little bit of time to be like, wow, what just happened? I'm now in we call that the integration period, for their body to process everything that's been released. And usually by the end of the integration period, which averages maybe like 1 to 3 days, people notice a difference. So yeah. And then to go to Ada's question, there's a lot of epigenetic research being done right now as far as can things be
I'm obsessed with epigenetics. So yeah.
yeah. I think the study that took me that was the most powerful to hearing about to me was from Emory University. I think it was done 2013, 2014. And they used mice, male mice, and they provided like a scent. So the scent was, it was a chemical scent, but it was like, I think it was an almond and cherries. It was like a mixture, right? And every time the males smelled the scent, they provided a shock to the, and so they would start to cower or shudder because they're being shocked. And so they did this however many times. They would produce the smell, and then provide the stimulus of the shock. And then later they went on to see their pups or their offspring who were born from these male mice. Whenever they were presented with the smell, they had the same exact reaction as their fathers, even though there was no stimulus there, right? And this went on to then
Now you just woke up Adla's brain. This is like,
and then it went on to like the grandchildren mice. When people, when people talk about epigenetics, when you've been through something powerful like shock or panic, there's a lot of research out there that's showing, yes, this can be passed along. So when you heal yourself, you're healing the world. You're one person at a time. It's making a ripple effect.
So I have a question, just because I always have this issue with Mushki. She'll be with me. She'll say, I think I have Lyme disease. And then she's calling you. Or I'm like, could you please call a doctor also? Like, I love Macy. I believe everything you're doing, but like, you also just need medicine. Like, you just need a pill. And that, I guess I'm still a little bit more of a traditional medicine. Like, for me, the emotions, it makes sense to me. I was dealing with a hard thing at work. You helped me. And I had confidence to approach in a different way a few days later. And I was like, oh, that's the emotion code. But how does emotion code line up with traditional medicine? When is it in the place of, when is it, I've had experience where you said, this is not something for me. This is a real, medical crisis. You need to go get help there. And I'm just, this is for Mushki to listen.
No, I was very disappointed. I called Macy and she told me I have to go to the doctor.
And I was so proud.
Macy wanted to call me to take Millie to the doctor. She called me up. She's like, her body's not able to fight it. It's functioning very low. She's like, she has to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing we don't like about Macy, that she's still normal.
And she'll say,
sometimes she tells us, no, like, you told me now with my baby, no, like she needs physical therapy. I'm like, what?
Just do a session and send me a beautiful typed up letter on your but that makes me happy. But I wonder if some people are replacing it, or what is the balance of, this is an emotion code path, or, hi, no, you actually need to go take medicine for it.
Right. I think this is an adjunct, right? This is a supportive modality. So if there's an emergency, God forbid, first go to the doctor, go to the specialist, go to the therapist. We don't diagnose. I'm not like, there's nothing like, I just always go to the professionals. And then if they're not finding all the things, or if you're still feeling like there's imbalances, then we work on it. I would say that first of all. And then
because Mushki will call you before she'll call Hatzalah. She'll be like, well, let's first have Macy check in on this, and then I'll know what to do.
And Mushki knows that I tell her the truth. I'll tell you, right, Mushki? So she's like, I know you'll tell me.
No, you sent me to the hospital. You sent me to the doctor. Now you sent me videos of stuff I actually have to do with my baby and stretches. What in the world?
Right. And then I think with that being said, also though, energy healing's been around since the dawn of time, right?
I guess it's just new for our community. Like how long, sometimes I guess it's found and, and everyone finds it and then that's it. We I guess like Mushki said, we bring it for each other and all of a sudden you're full.
I think for a while, Ayla, it's something that people have been more whispering about one to another. Like my baby 5 years ago was crying, and I didn't know what was going on. a few people, I said, I don't know what's going on. They said, well, like, this is going to sound crazy. So I think it's something people were like whispering, and now like it's just getting louder and part of more normal conversation. And there's so many practitioners that have practiced it. Like, I know David's always like, how do you find the weirdo in the room? Like, but whenever I go somewhere, there's always someone that's like, well, I was doing it, I was outsourcing it and I wanted to just help my family. Now I do it. I literally think like every 3 families is like one person that like is the emotion coder now of the family. And I'm so happy we have Macy in our family.
I'm so happy to be part of the family.
Sometimes Macy calls me up without any names and she tells me like, Mushki, I just want to share a little win and something that we both like dance about. And do you want to share like something that just recently happened this past week?
Yes, I would love to share. One of the most powerful ones recently, a mommy who was expecting reached out to me. She was expecting with baby number 4. And she was saying that now typically she has very healthy babies, 8 to 10 pound babies. And she goes full term. And she was saying, like, I'm hoping I can get to, I think she said, I'm hoping I can get to 35 weeks. And I'm like, 35 weeks? Wait, what? I had no idea. What's going on? Fill me in. So she ended up sharing that the baby's weight just kept dropping at each appointment. First, the baby was in the 35th percentile. This is in utero. So the baby's weight was in the 35th percentile, and then went down to the 20th, and then it was down to the 10th, and then at the last appointment, it was down at the 4th. And whenever the infant gets below 4%, that's when they talk about it's healthier, or they have a better chances if they're out than if they stay in. And so they start talking about doing early inducing at that point. And so she was saying that they had been doing a scan each week and checking the placenta function and all the baby, of course, brain and heart and all that. And so we did a session. And when I asked her subconscious, how healthy, what percent functioning is your placenta right now? It said 10%. It was at 10% functioning. So I let her body lead the way. We released all these imbalances that were located, that were in her body, that were impacting the placenta health. And by the end of the session, when I asked the body the same question, it said it went up to 40%. So her appointment was the next day. And so that morning I connected with her again and checked. I said, it's showing now that you're at 80%. The placenta's at 80. And so we'll see. The time of the appointment was later that afternoon. And she called me afterwards to tell me that they don't know what happened, but the placenta is now showing 100% functioning. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. The next week, the baby's birth weight went up from that 4% up to 9%. And now it just keeps going up, 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 up. And so it was just, I mean, I was jumping up and down anytime. It's so powerful. And that all I was doing was releasing imbalances in her body, and her body did the rest, right? It healed itself. So that's what I tell people, like, the emotion code isn't doing the healing. Your body's the one doing the healing. We're just releasing any barriers that are there that are preventing your body from being in a state of like that balanced homeostasis that makes it more challenging, makes it like a heavier load. And so for her, I think, I don't know if it was Nini or Hesha had asked, like, what's the processing time? Her body's processing time wasn't even 24 hours. We did the session in that evening, and that next afternoon, the placenta functioning was up to 100%. So, yeah, that was.
Macy, could you just show them when people say how, like, once you find, like, through muscle testing, you find the emotion? Could you just show them like what you do to release it? People are like, what does it mean you release it? Can you just show with your hand or what you do to actually?
Sure. So the emotion code utilizes the governing meridian. The meridians were first discovered through acupuncture. The governing meridian would be like the main freeway that all of the other meridians come and plug into. So when you're working on the governing meridian, we know that it acts as every other highway that's connected to you, every other energy, all the energy that goes through your body is there. So if we just use that as the access point to release any imbalance. So the governing meridian starts at your tailbone, and it goes all the way up your spine, up over your head, and then down between your eyes, nose, lip, and it ends there. So with the power of intention, when you're ready to release something, you just swipe that meridian with the intention that you're releasing it. And knowing that that governing meridian is attached to all the other meridians in the body. So anywhere that trapped emotion or trapped imbalance is located, it can just flush it out, release it. So it would just be, I don't even have to touch, right? I'm just.
But you're physically doing this even though the person is in South Africa.
Right.
You're doing it to yourself.
I'm doing it to myself.
Ayla and Nini, does this sound, you always tell me this is crazy.
I was gonna
Any
say,
of her,
Risky, we should just watch it live. Like, I'm sure you have a lot.
any of her brothers are seeing
Like,
Macy
Tracy,
do
why
it.
don't you want, like, Mushki, why don't you, like, show us a real session? Like, in 2 minutes,
Macy, would you be willing to do it? I
you,
actually
like,
recorded
release
one.
something from Mushki.
I-
Right?
We can do it now if you want, or we can. Yay.
Free session. Yeah,
we
are you
release?
comfortable with that?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. It'll be fun.
And what I want to see is when you say where you're talking to her subconscious, when you're talking, like, are you physically talking, or you're thinking deeply? Like, how do you actually process that, you yourself?
when I make the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at first I just always ask for their blessing, and then I just ask to be connected. I just send out my intention. Again, it just goes back
And
to
then the
the
information just opens for you.
Does anyone else
sorry.
want to do it, or can I hog the stage?
We could do a 3-minute session, Mushki. Let's go.
I love it. I think that is.
You
Just-
needed the
There's
most.
so much mystery. Like, it's so interesting.
Disgusting. Who heard someone at the Kinnos told me she loves Manucha because she sends out the best, most disgusting, most like on target comments. And she goes, most people don't hear it, but she does. And I don't know if
That
you've heard
was
it.
Misha.
Hello.
Manucha?
I met her later in the
She
JC.
just said she
Same
can use
thing.
it the most, talking about me, if someone missed it.
Hesha said that, but sure.
That was actually
yeah.
Misha, but I'll take it for it.
Misha.
It's so
Hesha, I'm surprised.
I'm on like 3 hours of sleep. Don't be so surprised. It could go meaner.
No, that's great.
Should we do
I was
me?
just gonna say, I think also when people say like, how do you do it from afar? It's kind of like, how are you? How's Nini right now in Texas? Hesha, you're back in California. Yeah, you're back. Okay, so you're in California. You all are back in New York. Like, how is it that we're able to, And you're like, oh, it's the computer, and essentially, how do I connect? It's the computer. It's the subconscious. It's the same. It's the same like principle, right? Of like literally, I just those like old movies of like the phone operators back in the day when you're like, please connect me, and they're like pulling a wire out of the wall and then they plug it in. That's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm like, please connect me to Ayla.
Well, I think it would be cool for all of us to really see, because even when we call you, it's on the phone and not on Zoom. So
Sure.
this should be interesting for us and all our followers.
Okay.
So Mushki, you're up. Give her your blessing.
All right. So I normally just like have to center myself and ground myself a minute. There. Okay, and then I just use muscle testing. I've been doing it a long time, muscle testing. And so the longer you do something or anything, you just get better. Like I said, my mom is a registered nurse, and she took a course. I think I was 12 when she taught me how to muscle test. And so I started using different
So
ways.
you pick up your fingers a little bit so they see.
Right. So you would just, it's the idea that the body doesn't lie. So if you make a statement, then the body will be either say like, yes, that's so true, or no, that's not. And so if you say, you could be anything. So right now, my name is, and then if it'll say, no, it's not. No, my name is not Nini, And so if it's the ring and ring, I use a little bit different method just because it's faster. But essentially you just are asking, you're just making a statement, and then the body will tell you whether it's congruent with the information that's in the subconscious or not congruent. So once you start to feel comfortable with your intuition and just asking yourself or making these statements, then you could do it with anything, you know. So I started doing it with just like basic things. Like if I have a headache, I'm usually try not to take anything, but when I'm like, okay, I have to take something, I'll say, ibuprofen will help with my headache. No. Okay. Tylenol will help. Okay, great.
So you're listening to your body talk, and if we listened better, we probably would hear it as well. You know,
Yeah.
if we were more in tune almost.
Yes. Yeah. It's just listening to your body. Mm-hmm. So I'm
My
just
body is open and ready, Macy.
okay, Mushki. I am connected with Mushki. Yes. Okay. And so Mushki, is there something you want me to look at or ask your body right now?
Whatever comes up.
Is it all the hate you got on Friday?
Maybe it's the overjoy she got from her producing of that film.
I don't know how that didn't make the catch up at the beginning.
Because we were too excited you were here.
Okay, I'll have to release that from her
And
later,
we spent
probably.
an hour doing catch up on her Insta last night. So
Okay, I'll release that from her
Longer than a
later.
podcast.
And if it's like emotions from my sisters, you could do that publicly here too.
Okay. This is actually taking me to, like I mentioned before, there's 3 areas. The first area is the emotion code, then the body code, and the last one is the belief code. And this looks at any faulty belief that you have. And so this is taking me to the area of intuition. So there's a faulty belief there. And so I'm just scrolling through, and there's a list. So there are 3 sections. And I ask your body, is it in section 1? No. Is it in section 2? Yes. So mine stays strong. I just do it one hand so that I can have my other hand with my phone. So it's in section 2. And then I ask the body, okay, there are 9 possible options in section 2, which I haven't read them. So here we go. Here we go, Mishki. And I'll say, is this an even number? Is it a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? There's no
It's
10.
always I'm not worthy, so I don't even care. Don't have to guess.
Okay, and it says no, it's not an even. So is it an odd? Yes. Okay. Is it number 1? Nope. Number 3? Yes. Number 3, the
it's fascinating.
negative statement on number 3 is, I can't follow through with my insights.
Wow.
So, and then we ask the body, is there anything else that trapped with that negative statement? Sometimes it'll say, yeah, there was a couple other things that were there that made you trap that. For right now, when I ask Mishki's body that, it says, no, nothing else trapped with that. And I say, okay, is there anything more we need to know before we release the statement? And her body says, no. Now, if we want to, we could ask your body anything. We could ask you how old you were when you first believed that statement. Or when this statement became trapped.
I'm pretty good at bringing up those memories.
Yeah, you are pretty amazing at it. Yeah. So if we wanted to know, we could ask what age you were, but we don't have to know in order to release it.
That's cool. You could ask.
I'm curious. How old?
Okay. So I'm asking, is this from your 30s? No. 20s? No. Is this from your teens? Yes. Were you 13? Nope. 14. 14 is when this. I can't follow
Does it
through.
have to do with Mimi?
I was like, it's something with Nene and how she was a mean older
That
sister.
would be the epic way to end that.
It comes in every episode.
She's going to be sending me for so many sessions.
We already put Mimi out of the way, but I think
Remember at the very beginning, she's like,
okay,
and
Macy,
done.
continue doing that muscle testing. Let's go.
It sounds like high school.
Maybe
So
I have to do
now,
with friends, Mushki.
Let's
You're
hear it.
right. Friends do come up a lot. Was it a friend or family member?
Ooh.
family. Is this a friend? Does this have to do with a friend?
No.
But
It was a
who,
friend?
I mean, is it really like, did my friend make me not follow through? No, it says I can't follow through with my insights. So maybe a family member was just lovingly trying to bring you to work on that, right? Of like, follow through with your insights, Mushki. And then you're like saying, I can't. I don't know. I'm just
It has
projecting.
to do with my hairpins. That's what's coming up.
You can't follow through with your insights and hairpins? Your body says
Yeah,
no.
Mushki, it was later. When you did, you were already 16 by then. Sorry, don't blame that on me. Absolutely not.
Okay, so yeah, it's
Okay.
not coming up.
So now we'll just say, okay, we now release this belief that you cannot follow through with my insights. And I just use the governing meridian and the intention that it will release. And then I always check, did that negative statement of I can't follow through with my insights release? Yes, it's gone. So
Your finger really like locks up, huh?
it totally does. It's like a claw. Yeah, it's really strong. Yeah.
Mushki, how do you feel?
I
You
don't
could
know
follow
about this.
through, Mushki. You got this.
You can follow all your insights.
I don't know if it, yeah, no, I don't know if it's like psychological at this point. When Macy does it, I'm always like, oh, I feel so good now. Okay, so before we do our Fast Five, we are going to again thank our sponsor for this really epic and different healing modality episode. Thank you so much, Javiva Tarlo, for graciously sponsoring this episode. And as you were saying, Macy, there's so many ways to release emotions in your body. And I'm sure you'll agree that singing, and a lot of times so many emotions get stuck by, your vocal cords, right? A lot of times you say that. So what Javiva does in singing is definitely a beautiful release and how she uplifts the audience. So thank you, Javiva Tarlo Music. Please check her out on Spotify, Instagram, all over, and book your next event, whether it's a challah bake, spa for the soul, bas mitzvah, a high school event, nishay, any organizations. Again, I am telling you, within a few years, she will be uplifting the at the Kinnas. If you didn't hear at the beginning, she sang so beautifully at the Yotes Kislev live event. They approached her because they know she has that special gift of really connecting to a crowd and really uplifting the crowd along with her and making everyone feel so united. Music definitely has a way of doing that, but Javiva singing, she really sounded like an angel and really just brought the crowd together. And she is doing this crazy special. So I would definitely really hunker down and don't wait and grab this opportunity of $1,300, which is crazy, of hiring her for your event. She usually charges $3,000. So really pencil that in, book her in your calendar right away. And thank you so much, Javiva Tarlo Music. We will now be hearing about her all over. You'll be seeing us posting about her on our page. You can hear her vocals, hear her songs. So much of what she does is so intentional and has her own beautiful life story put into it. And I know you will come and thank us. So thank you so much, Javiva. And we are so excited for the Fast Five. And we're going to take it away.
Oh, and I just realized the girl in my class's name was Connie Thorlow.
I knew it was coming, Mimi. I just, was waiting for you to process it. We all know
All this
Ken-
emotion code really helped me, get her name right.
It makes
All
me
right,
feel
who's
better.
doing the fast five?
Realizing that, okay, I'm like, wait, how many Menahems do I have? Which Menahem am I talking to? Menahem Mindel. I'm like, you still got to give me a last name. I'm like, I recognize your voice, but I want to make sure I get the right one. I get it.
Who was the most skeptical about emotion code in the beginning?
Ooh, there's probably a tie for that one, I would say. I don't know. I think the skeptics don't speak up as much, right? They maybe tell Mushki, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And so I'm not sure who the Mushki would have to answer that question.
It's all on you, Macy.
I think because Ayla's so logical, it's just so hard for, not that she's this is crazy. I think people that are that logic is their driving force. This is very hard to come to and make sense of.
Nini's way more skeptical than me. I'm not
What
even
She
sure.
lives with a natural emotion coder. So like her husband's so in tuned. So like it's like no.
Mace,
Okay.
you can insult us. You just have to give an answer.
It's true. I probably was the most skeptical in the beginning.
Okay.
All right. Who did Mushki call you about first? Herself or someone else?
Probably your babies first. That was the first phone call I got. Was Manu has fell down the stairs. I think you were at Nini's house, and you're like, she hasn't stopped crying or shaking for like, yeah, and that was like, and that's what pushed me to like, okay, I'll try this. Not in person. This will be my first time. I'll do anything for Manuha. I had so much love in my heart for Manuha.
Totally sweet. I just wanted to like, push you and stretch you.
Right. And not you. Yeah. The baby Manuha. Yeah. Yeah.
Which sister has the most courtings that need to be cleared?
No comment. No, I don't know. Luckily, I couldn't get. I wouldn't even be able to guess. Skip. Next question.
Okay, last question. Who calls you the most just for a quick question and turns into a full session?
Probably Mushki. She's like,
Nice
okay,
special.
so what about this and that? Okay, fine. I just need to do a session. Okay, what about this, that? Okay, we should just do a full session. So it'll start off like a couple of things, and then I'll be like, okay, when can we talk? Yeah.
Sounds about right.
So now you know not to answer the phone if you're busy.
They're like, do you have 10 minutes? It's like, do you have an hour?
And a half or two.
Or two.
but
Our conversations are
because Macy's so kind and so nice, I really hold myself back from sometimes calling because like I know her natural inkling, like is just like to help in this. So unless it's like pretty serious now, like I try not to just like call.
By the way, Macy, we know Mushki's tactic. She schedules sessions in the bungalow 2 or 3 o'clock Friday afternoons with you, so she doesn't have to help for Shabbos. And then she says, Macy's squeezing me in, and it's like right in the middle of everything.
Maybe that's why we're skeptics, because we really see the back end.
I didn't know this was
So
occurring.
next time she calls you on a Friday, you tell her, call me back on Sunday.
I was like, I was enabling you, Mushki.
Do not release that emotion from me.
Next time I'm gonna
It's
ask.
my greatest strength. So some things keep on. But Macy, it's like, I love when my two worlds collide. Like it used to be something, Macy, I used to keep kind of like, not secret, like kind of only tell Hesha, like only Hesha knew. But, but like it's so beautiful that like I feel like my whole world now is more out in like the open and my sisters are joining together. And there's really nothing that brings me more joy than seeing all the people I love and my worlds collide. And it is such an honor to have you on the sisters chat right away when we were going through. We always say this every time, but we're like, okay, we want it to be like not just like geared to one sister. Everyone connects to different sisters. So we're like, everyone's going to choose someone that they connect to. And this way, Adla will be some more business, and everyone was like, okay, so we know like Mushki's going to choose Macy. Like,
It was an obvious one.
so we're so happy that, when a thought pops on, you're actually here on with us.
You finished the intention you started.
Full circle, Macy.
Mushki had said I wanted to bring Macy on, and here she is.
Yeah.
And I actually thought my
Brilliant,
sisters would say like emotion code's going to be for like our 50th once we get more people on. We don't want people to jump off before people get on. But I love that they like so embraced it. And I so appreciate all of you, Adla, Nini, Manucha, and Hesha, who are so gracious and so excited to have Macy and something a little not so mainstream on. Even though you meet Macy, you think she's the most normal person in the world. But we're so happy to introduce you to everyone. And Macy, you got to pick up that little special kinesthesiology finger of yours That was worked hard muscle
Wait,
testing.
Mishki, we will put Macy's information in our show notes so
Of
that if anybody is
course.
looking, of course,
Aviva
for
Tarlow's information is going to be in the show notes, and Macy, our two woman star healers. Aviva also just heals everyone together with her in the crowd, but you're going to pick up that finger. Of course, everything's always in the show notes. Ayla is amazing at that. And you're going to say, Macy, you got to do it with us. Do you know it? Do you
Sweet.
watch till the end, Macy?
Yeah, yes, I try to watch till the end, but I don't want to take it from the sister, so you do it.
Okay, so let's do it
you
with us.
next
Okay.
week.
See you next week on
This
The
is
Good
bad.
Yeah.
Fight.